After 14 years of abuse, a mother of three named Sally left her husband and her abuse. She took her three kids and drove directly to a payphone and called the battered women's hotline number. Sally knew she was not going back. 3 years later, she lives in a violent-free home and makes her own decisions. While I do not have any first-hand experience with domestic violence, I've had numerous friends go through abusive relationships and experience the cycle of teen dating violence. So today I'm going to talk about the issue of domestic violence. Then I'm going to explain teen dating violence and the impact that it has on future relationships. Last, I'm going to share the amazing work that local shelters do and what you can do to get involved with these organizations. According to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, domestic violence is a pattern of behaviors used by one partner to maintain power and control over another partner in an intimate relationship. Domestic violence occurs more often than one might think. According to the CDC's National Intimate Partner in Sexual Violence Survey, indicates that nearly 1 in 4 adult women and approximately 1 in 7 adult men report experiencing severe physical violence from an intimate partner in their lifetime. So how does the cycle of abuse work? Well, I have a graphic to my left that portrays the cycle and how it works, but I'm also going to explain it. It's broken down into stages, the first being the tension in the relationship builds. This tension leads to a breakdown in communication, which leads to the second phase, which is an explosion or incident of abuse. This transitions the couple into the honeymoon stage, where the abuser may apologize, give gifts to the victim, and promise it will never happen again. The last phase of the cycle is the calm period. According to the same survey by the CDC, this cycle can happen hundreds of times in an abusive relationship, with the total cycle lasting from a few hours to numerous years to complete. It's important to remember that not all domestic violence relationships fit this cycle. Often as time goes on, the makeup or calm periods tend to fade or disappear. Often people wonder why victims won't leave their abusers, but there are many reasons for them to stay. First, victims of abuse are at a greater risk for violence when they try to leave abusive relationships. According to an article by Janet Kaspervik from The Guardian, statistics show that victims who leave are at a 75% greater risk of being killed by their partner than those who stay. 50% of all victims of domestic violence grew up witnessing some kind of abuse in the home, sometimes severe physical abuse, so they might view it as normal. In past studies, there's been a greater frequency of intimate partner violence that has been significantly linked to lower self-esteem in battered women. In a 2015 article from the Journal of Family Violence, Linrock, Church, and McCubbin find that physical abuse by an intimate partner leads to a decrease in self-esteem among battered women. This low self-esteem can cause victims to want to stay with their abuser. This leads to my second point. As students of the University of Akron, primarily in our teens and 20s, we are more susceptible to experiencing dating violence. According to an article entitled Preventing Teen Dating Violence by the CDC, it explains that teen dating violence can happen in person or electronically, such as repeated texts or posting sexual pictures of a partner online without consent. Unhealthy relationships can start at an early age and last a lifetime. Teens often think behaviors such as name-calling or teasing is a normal part of a relationship, but these behaviors can become abusive and turn violent. There are 4 major types of TDV: physical violence, sexual violence, pathological aggression, and stalking. In the same article by the CDC, Youth Risk Behavior Survey reports that 26% of women and 15% of men who are victims of intimate partner violence in their lifetime first experience these and other forms of violence by that partner before the age of 18. While domestic violence seems like it only happens to a small percentage of women or not very many women, violence in adolescent relationships set the stage for problems in future relationships such as intimate partner violence or domestic violence. Youths who are victims of dating violence in high school are at a higher risk of victimization during college. However, as shown in this visual to my right, there are ways that we can prevent teen dating violence. Educating youth about the facts of domestic violence as well as teen dating violence, we can better equip students to advocate for themselves and others that they see in abusive situations, which is one of the most effective ways to stopping teen dating violence. and their book, Programs to Reducing Teen Dating Violence and Sexual Assault, Perspectives on What Works from 2009, Weiss and Black state, a comprehensive approach reveals the core techniques that should be a part of any successful prevention program. Includes peer education and youth leadership, which empowers participants and keeps programs relevant. In addition to this knowledge, teaching students about local shelters and ways that they can support these resources will create a system capable of providing the needs of battered women. Which brings me to my third and final point. Where do victims of domestic abuse and violence turn when they want to leave their abusive situations? The Battered Women's Shelter of Summit and Medina counties is a great resource. It states on their website that they provide emergency protective shelter and supportive environments for women and their children fleeing an abusive situation. Case management is available to assist residents in setting short-term goals needed to transition into a life of peace. After going to their crisis center, victims go to the Step 2 Transitional Center, which motivates victims to be more self-sufficient. In an article by the National Domestic Violence Hotline, it states that the last phase is Step 3, Rapid Rehousing, which limits the amount that families are homeless due to domestic violence. These houses help victims become productive and independent members of society. There are many ways that you can donate, including supplies, over-the-counter medication, paper products, diapers, cribs, and towels. They also accept food through the Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank or financial donations. Today I defined and discussed domestic violence as well as dating violence, what the Battered Women's Shelter does to help victims of abuse, and how you can get involved with life-changing organizations like the one in Medina and Summit County. There are even more ways that you can get involved, whether it be as an advocate for someone on campus or donating at your local Battered Women's Shelter. Remember, a woman in Liberia once stated, who had survived abuse, "A house where a woman feels unsafe is not a home." Thank you.